Mick is here tonight, man. A little late, but not never. Hey, on this post-election night, of Instigator Mick, we'll still talk football. Obviously, we are going to talk our sports. So, talk about politics much. It's a sensitive topic. Well, yep. Hope everyone went out and vote. I know I did. I know a lot of my viewers did. So yeah, we now know who our president is going to be elected. Is going to be. It's going to be Donald Trump. He is back in office for. Made a little history. Second president to win 9 consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland did over 100 years ago, like almost over a century ago. So yeah, almost 200 years. It's insane to think about now. But yep, those are the results. It's crazy though. But yep, power will be peacefully shifted though. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Trump, you're right. You're right. Enjoy this one. It is just a great day for sure. But hey, we're all still one country, no matter who wins. That's all I can say. But hey, congratulations to Donald Trump. He is the 47th president of the United States. Yes. Tom Spears. Yes. Oh, I love to hear that. But all right. Without further ado, let's get into this week. Before we do that, we'll recap last week's games. Last week, I went to Syracuse this past Saturday for the Virginia Tech game. Of course, my Hokies came up a bit short. They lost to Virginia. But yeah, it was a great game overall, though. It was a fun experience, getting back to the Dome. First time in a long time. But yeah, wish Virginia Tech would have won, but that was a good Syracuse team. Plus we were missing guys, too. But yeah, it was a fun trip, though. Just too bad my Hokies lost. So yeah, that was the first game we talked about there. Yeah, they had a 1-3 lead and then blew it and just lost in overtime. Missing their quarterback, missing their running back too. So they had a lot of guys missing. Oh, a tough one for the Hokies. Pretty much ruined their chances of making the ACC championship game now. Oh, yeah, a tough one, but good one for great win for Syracuse. Come all the way back, and got the win. So give them a lot of credit. It was a good game. Went to overtime. Yeah. Ohio State wins a huge win. They beat Penn State. So the Buckeyes are back on top, with a huge win over Penn State. So yeah, the Buckeyes pretty much put themselves really in the playoff conversation. They knew they had They knew they had to win this one. I picked Penn State, but hey, the Buckeyes once again. The dominance of Penn State continues. Buckeyes go on the road in a tough environment and go out and get a big win. So that's a really good win for the Buckeyes, and that's why they moved up to number 2 in the nation now. So good win for the Buckeyes over Penn State in the biggest game of that week. Indeed. So Duke and Miami. Duke would look like they were going to run away with it, we thought. Duke was going to run away with that football game, we thought. We really thought so. And then Miami roared back. Another miracle. But this time they put up 53 points. So Miami. Yeah, Trey Wright is a Raven now. That's right. You got a lot of trade deadline going on yesterday as well. But yeah, so Miami beat Duke. They were really boosting their chances of making the college football playoffs. And Cam Moore's Heisman campaign just keeps continuing. So yeah, that was a noon game this past Saturday. That happened. Oregon makes a statement win against the defending champs, the Michigan Wolverines. So Oregon, this is why they're number 1 team in the nation, the first initial playoff rankings, which we'll get to in a little bit. So yeah, the Ducks won, on a tough road environment like Michigan. Yeah, so they went in there. Oregon's so complete. This thing is, the Ducks are so complete. They could be the team that could win the national championship this year, the college football playoffs and all that. So yeah, that's a legit good win for them. Florida, almost pulled the upset. They came a bit short. So but Georgia had a slow start, but found a way to beat the Gators. So yeah, Georgia, good win for them beating the Florida Gators. That's a good win for Georgia. And they're boost their rankings to the college football playoffs. So that's a big win right there for them. Florida's unranked, but still, those rivalry games are always tough. Always tough. One of the big shocks of the college football weekend was Texas Tech upsetting number 11 Iowa State. So Iowa State is no longer undefeated now. The Cyclones suffered the first defeat of the season. Nobody expected Texas Tech to win that one. Honestly, nobody expected the Red Raiders pull out that upset. I mean, honestly, I was surprised on that one. I really thought for sure Iowa State at home in Iowa State. Oh, that was a tough one for Iowa State. The tough pill to swallow, hurting their chances right there. Losing to an unranked opponent. I mean, think November football is always tough around this time of year for college football. It always is. Playoff resumes and all that. Yeah, you got to win out. It doesn't matter what team you're playing. These are games you have to win. Indiana, seriously, they need to show more respect for Indiana. They made another statement win. They beat Michigan State, but still, seriously, Indiana's still undefeated. The Hoosiers, still, but one of the biggest surprises of the college football season, no doubt. Taking out Michigan State, made it pretty much a statement win. Showing that, hey, we're still here. So that's a really good win for them as well. Louisville, Clemson, this is another big upset. Louisville goes into Death Valley, goes into Clemson, and shocks the nation. So Clemson suffers their first AC defeat, their second loss overall. Clemson hasn't lost a game since then, but now, yeah, that really hurts Clemson's chance right there. That really does. They got to get something going late in the season. That Louisville no one saw that coming either. Wisconsin, I picked Wisconsin, but I did not. Iowa looks pretty good. Iowa looks legit good this year. They beat Wisconsin. It was not even close. It was not even a contest. That game was not. Then Tennessee, slow start, but found a way to Kentucky. That was one of the big games also. So the Volunteers get a win over Kentucky. The other big upset, a top 10 team goes down. Yeah, Texas A&M suffers their first defeat in conference play, but loses to South Carolina. It wasn't even close. 44-20. God, A&M. Back to being overrated, I think, looks like. That did not help their chance right there. They lose to South Carolina. South Carolina's very competitive this year, I'll tell you that. They are very competitive. They are giant killers for sure. South Carolina's known to pull off sets in the past. And, of course, the big game in the ACC, Pitt and SMU. It wasn't even close. SMU just dominated from the first half, and it was over at halftime pretty much. Oh, yeah, SMU just looked pretty good. Pitt suffers their first defeat of the season. Pitt is also longer defeat. So both Pitt and Penn State, both PA teams suffer losses this college football season. So they're both no longer undefeated. So that is interesting. Now let's get into this week's playoff rankings. The initial rankings came out the same night as the election. So, yeah, let's recap how that played off, It's interesting how the rankings look like in the first, in the initial rankings in the top 12. Yeah, Oregon is the number one team, just the initial rankings to start the year. That's a good start, The Oregon Ducks. We're in our first place on the rankings. So the Oregon's number one they put at. They also put Ohio State at 2, which is really good. But the conference, because Oregon, who's leading the conference? So Georgia at number 3, then Miami at 4. Obviously, and then Texas at 5. So then that's a good one. I think it's pretty good. I think they did a really good job with their resume building. Obviously, Penn State drops to 6. The only defeat was to Ohio State, was number 2, so that's why they are top 10. Tennessee Volunteers, respectable, put them in the top 10 as well. Indiana gets finally respect, and they put them in the top 10. So Hoosiers, yeah. That is big, putting them up there. BYU, obviously number 9, of course, but they're leading the Big 12 right now. Notre Dame at number 10. They would be a playoff team. No, and obviously Alabama at number 11, but the highest ranked Group of 5 team. Boise State is the 12th seed right now. Boise State is number 12 right now. So, yeah. I'm not shocked at all. Boise State's up there. They've had such a great season. The only loss was to Oregon, which is now obviously the number 1 team in the nation. So, yeah. SMU, 13, but they got some work to do. Try to bail for the AC championship game, but they're the first team out. I'm going to miss it. And the second team out was Texas A&M. So, yeah, that's a pretty good college football player. So, the rest of so, yeah. Iowa State dropped to 17 because their first loss, and Pitt drops too. So, it's going to be interesting how this week's games play off, the first initial rankings of the college football playoff. So, we'll see how it could impact, this week's games. Like, which team's going to be ready to play and all that. That is the biggest thing right now, how that's going to play off now. Now, let's talk about this week's college football picks. Let's start with the Friday night game on Fox at 9 o'clock. It is Iowa at UCLA. So Iowa heads to the Rose Bowl Stadium against UCLA. UCLA came off a shocking win over Nebraska, which nobody saw. I mean, UCLA's been rough, but they're starting to get going a little bit. But Iowa's been red hot, starting with their running back, who is just breaking records. Who might break the most rushing touchdowns in a single season for Iowa? This is their sensational running back. So yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I mean, it's not gonna be close though. I got the Iowa Hawkeyes big. I mean, after what you saw at Wisconsin over the weekend, yeah, I like the Hawkeyes pretty much good. This one is not a evenly match. This is such a mismatch, big time. Purdue at Ohio State. This is a big noon game on Fox. It's not going to be even close. Ohio State by a lot. Purdue is awful. Ohio State's definitely going to dominate them. I could at least see them put up 50 or 60 points maybe. I could be wrong. No, they start to struggle with these teams, but it's not going to be close. Purdue is just garbage. Purdue is just a terrible football team. The Miami Hurricanes, obviously now, they go on the road to take on Georgia Tech. That'll be at noon, I think, on ESPN, yeah. So, I mean, I got to go with Miami. I got to go with the Hurricanes in this one. Georgia Tech, I mean, they're good. It's just Miami's just on a different level. This, like the Hurricanes are. The U is definitely on their camera for sure. Next, Florida at Texas. This is noon on ABC. The SEC's one of the SEC games on the ABC. Texas Longhorns, number 5 in the nation, hosting them. I mean, it's an interesting one having these two programs who've been just blue bloods to the college football level, but I gotta go with Texas in this one. You know, that could be a sneaky game for them, but still, I gotta go with the Longhorns still. They should win this one pretty easily. And of course, at noon also, this is on the CW network as well as same last week. Syracuse once again back there. This is at Boston College, though. Syracuse, yes, they beat my Hokies. The game I was at. And BC's still a good program still. BC is, but I got to go with Syracuse. They're just on a dip. I mean, they're playing so much. They're playing probably the best one they've had in a long time since 2018. I mean, Kyle McCord's about that offense going. And also, Quinn Allen's the biggest reason why they beat Virginia Tech last week. So I got to go with Syracuse. Even if it's on the road, but I got to go with the Orange over Boston College. Yes, I did. Looks pretty good. Thank you. Pretty nice haircut. Indeed. But this is a big game here in the ACC for Clemson. Clemson heads the Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech, 3:30 ABC. So my Hokies on ESPN, they'll take on Clemson. This is Virginia Tech now not playing for ACC championship game. They're trying to at least get to a bowl game. I mean, I'm picking Virginia Tech still. I think they can pull this upset off. Clemson just came up a tough loss to Louisville. Virginia Tech came off a heartbreaker to Syracuse in overtime. So, I mean, they could have their quarterback and their running back this week. They could be. But, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm feeling the Hokies upset this weekend over Clemson. I like to see Virginia Tech play spoiler. I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling an upset this weekend. Keep this one on upset alert. Here's a really huge one in the SEC at 3:30 on ABC. Is Ole Miss hosting Georgia. And that's to be a really good one. I mean, these two met last year, and Georgia pretty much dominated. But I don't know. I mean, this game's in Oxford. But, I don't do well picking Ole Miss this year. I mean, at the same time, Georgia had an ugly win against Florida last week. I'm sensing an Ole Miss win for some reason. I mean, if Georgia wins this one, they prove me wrong, great. But they didn't look like the same Georgia. They rolled away in the second half, but they've been out to slow starts. I don't know. They're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. Carson Beck is a good quarterback, but I just don't see Georgia right now. Just is like a national championship contender compared to some of the other teams in the mix right now. They gotta prove me something in this one, but I gotta go with the Rebels. Next, Indiana against Michigan, 3:30 on CBS. Indiana's hosting Michigan, the defending champs. Of course, Kirk Gingemi, great season for Indiana. I mean, they're 9-0. I mean, trying to go to 10-0. And this would be a huge one for them if they beat Michigan. Because Kirk Gingemi right away said, Purdue sucks, and so does Michigan, Ohio State. He's got to back these. This is the last 3 games there. Michigan, Purdue, and Ohio State. So he's got to really back all these up. He's got to back this one up. But I got to go with the Hoosiers. They are just playing some just outstanding football. Like, the biggest college surprise this year's season is Indiana. So I got to give me the Hoosiers. They are such a good team. I mean, their offense is so explosive. I mean, they've just been blowing teams out like all year. And Michigan's just not that good. So I got to go with Indiana in this one. Now let's go to the primetime game. 7:30 on NBC. Notre Dame, number 10 Notre Dame, hosting 1-8 Florida State. Ugh, Florida State just having a bad, overrated year. This is a bad year for the Noles. They go into South Bend. It's not going to be close. Notre Dame by a lot. It's definitely the end of Mike Norvell. They lost. I mean, Florida State loses again. They lose to Carolina over the weekend. Oh, give me the Irish. LSU. Oh, this is a big one here in Baton Rouge, where College Game Day will be at 7:30 on ABC. The Saturday Night Football game on ABC. It is Alabama and LSU. That traditional November matchup. That's gonna be huge. Playoff implications on the line in this one for that large bid and all that. I mean, it's gonna be a really big matchup here. In Death Valley and Baton Rouge. There you go. That's where College Game Day will be at. I gotta go with the LSU Tigers. And much I would want to pick Bama, but just I don't know. LSU. I mean, they're due for a win over Alabama. I just could see it. LSU playing some good football. I mean, especially Alabama going into a hostile environment like LSU. I mean, this is gonna be a tough one in Baton Rouge, especially in prime time in Death Valley. So I gotta go with the Tigers in this one. LSU. Now, 8 o'clock is a Peacock exclusive. It is Washington at the Huskies at Penn State. Whiteout game for Penn State. A bounce-back week for them after a tough loss to Ohio State. Washington, meanwhile, found a way to beat USC. But honestly, this is a revenge game for Penn State. I mean, this is a bounce-back week for them. They're going to get going again. I like the Nittany Lions, especially a whiteout game for Penn State. Their traditional whiteout game. I got to go with the Nittany Lions in this one. Give me Penn State. Last but not least, the ACC Network primetime game on ACC Network at 8 o'clock is UVA at Pitt. I mean, as a Hokies fan, I mean, I can't stand UVA, but I also hate Pitt, so very tough for me to pick. But if I had to choose one, I'm smelling UVA. I don't know why. I can't believe this is coming from Virginia Tech and picking the University of Virginia. I know. I like Pitt's going to lose like last week. I mean, it's at home, but I don't know. UVA, they're due to beat this Pitt team for some reason. They are, so give me the Cavaliers in this one. Let's talk about the NFL, man. Crazy week in the NFL this past week. Of course, trade deadlines and all that, but yeah. I mean, the Texans fall to the Jets, so Aaron Rodgers gets a pretty good win. Him and Davante Adams looked pretty good this past Thursday on Halloween, so that was one of those games. I mean, like, Texans were like a comfortable win for them. I mean, the Jets. The Jets beat the Texans, which surprised me. I mean, I was shocked the way how bad the Jets been playing, especially coming off a loss to the Patriots, and they come out and beat Houston. I'm just shocked right now. That's all I can say is. But a good win for the Jets, though. I'll give them credit as much as I'm a Bills fan. Yeah, that's a really good one for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just to get back on track, just to finally get it going. That's a good way to start, beating a good team like the Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football. So that's a good win for them. The Toilet Bowl, I mean, honestly, kind of was a pretty good one. Patriots and Titans went to OT, but I won that pick. Tennessee won by a field goal. They covered. So, yeah, that was a good win for Tennessee. Titans, I mean, that was a good win for them. Even though it's Patriots, but still, it's something to build off of, even though they're going to have a rough season, but still something to build off of, Both their wins against Dolphins and the Patriots, two AFC East teams. The only two teams they've lost to in the AFC, they were just the Buffalo and New York Jets. So, yeah, it's weird. The Titans are just a weird, bad team, but they'll eventually get back to normal. And, of course, they lost D-Hop. Chargers, not surprised. They looked dominant in Cleveland. I was not shocked at all about that win. They look pretty good. That defense dominated, did everything right. To win it in a tough environment, especially going from West Coast to East Coast, body clock didn't matter. They won it, went in Cleveland, just rolled. This one I really did not see coming. Carolina beating the Saints. I thought for sure the Saints are getting back on track. I'm telling you, that is a bad New Orleans Saints team. They lose to the Panthers. Are you kidding me? And they just fired after that. The day after that, they fired Dennis Allen. So the Saints fired their head coach immediately after they lost to the Panthers. So it's been a bad week for the New Orleans Saints. It really has. And also, not only that, they get rid of Marshawn Lattimore. He gets traded to the Commanders. And the Commanders' defense just got a whole lot better having him. So the Saints just really gave up. Just been a bad week. They lose to the Panthers. They get rid of their coach. And they also get rid of their star corner. Not been a good week for the New Orleans Saints. My Buffalo Bills eked out a huge win over the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are getting healthy. I mean, they had a really good competitive game. It wasn't like compared to what we saw back in September when Buffalo dominated. Buffalo kicks a game-winning field goal. Tyler Bass I mean, what a story for him. This man, we thought, oh God, he's not our kicker. He's so bad. He kept missing so many field goals, including the missed extra point. But he found somehow kicks a game-winning 61-yard field goal to beat the Miami Dolphins. I mean, really happy for Tyler Bass. Just a bounce back win for the Bills. I mean, Bills. I mean, they won still, but they barely beat the Dolphins. They're on a winning streak again. They've won like 4 straight. I mean, that's a huge win, a huge division win over the Dolphins. They sweep the Miami Dolphins for the 2nd straight year. So nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, indeed. And the Falcons, I told you what was going to happen. They beat Dallas. Man, they did. Not only that, it got worse for Dallas. Man, they were arguing, like Dak Prescott saying, we suck. And also, he goes down with an injury. So he'll be out for multiple weeks for Dallas now. Good win for the Atlanta Falcons, though. The Atlanta team look like they're in control to win the NFC South this year. This one I did not expect to be a blowout. I mean, even though Ravens are a legit good team, but just Broncos I thought would be more competitive. The Ravens just rolled. 41-10. That was one I did not see coming. Of course, Bengals, not surprised. They blew out the Raiders. The Raiders are so trash. That's the thing. They're just a dumpster fire franchise. That's not surprised there. And the Commanders swept the New York Giants. So that's a really good. I mean, hey, Commanders, they thought they could have lost the Giants, but nope. A clean sweep with the New York Giants, the Commanders. They are looking good in the division, but they still got to play the Eagles in a few weeks. I mean, Arizona rolled there. Arizona's getting hot. They're leading the NFC West, surprisingly, right now. They beat the Chicago Bears by 20 points. And good with them. And the Eagles got lucky. They had a 22-0 lead, and you let the Jaguars back in. This shows how bad. I mean, the Eagles still won, but they are so fraudulent. This shows why this team is not going to go deep this year, the Eagles. They got Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley made a great play up. A backwards hurdle jump. One of the rare things you never see in sports. That is amazing. Saquon Barkley just makes some amazing highlight reel plays. And the Rams prevailed in overtime. Oh, yeah, they look pretty good. But I can't wait to glow about this next one here. Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers. Oh, yeah, that was my pick of the week. I told you the Lions were going to win by at least double figures, and they did. They look pretty good. This might be probably the best team in the NFL right now. Usually I be biased, say the Buffalo Bills, but this Detroit team looks just, they could run through the whole, and they're definitely going to run the NFC, but they could also run through the whole NFL even. Like, oh my, I mean, this Lions team's legit. The best O-line, and this is why Jared Goff's passing has been so efficient lately. The running attack's good. The defense is good, even without Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, and they just got better, adding Zadarius Smith in the trade deadline. So seriously, this Lions team looked dominant. Jordan Love just looks so overrated. He is such a turnover machine. Everyone's saying Josh Allen was a turnover machine for years, but not anymore. I mean, still, there's still a lot of football to be played still, but I'm telling you, Josh Allen is so much better than Jordan Love. I hope my dad's hearing this. Jordan Love is overrated. The Packers overrated. They suck. Bills have a better record than the Packers. Get used to it, cheeseheads. I mean, your team is overrated. I may be overreacting to this, but I just love seeing the Packers downfall. I just love it. Just like when Stephen A. likes to see like Dallas Cowboys downfall. Fuck Green Bay. Dan Campbell, he does so well in Lambeau Field lately. The Lions own that stadium. But all right, the Vikings get a huge win over the Colts. I mean, a bounce back after losing back-to-back games. A much-needed win for the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, and they wish they did. This one, I knew it would be a lot closer than the experts think. The Monday night game. That Bucs-Chiefs game went to overtime. Bucs should have 2. They should not have went to overtime, let's be honest. The Bucs should have went for 2. That was a bad coaching decision by Todd Bowles right there. Especially being 4-4 at the time and Chiefs being undefeated. And the Chiefs are still getting lucky. I'm getting sick of hearing, oh my God, Chiefs three-peat, Chiefs three-peat. I'm getting sick of it. I mean, seriously. The Chiefs keep getting lucky. They just got a horseshoe so far up their ass. And they keep getting lucky. That and the officials. But who will ever beat the Chiefs? I feel like they got an easier stretch to me now this season, except for the Bills and Steelers and the, Texans. But still, like, who can beat this Chiefs team, it feels like? But all right, that's Week 9's picks. Let's talk about Week 10 this week. Let's start with tomorrow night's game. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. The spread is 6.5. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati Bengals. I'm taking the points. The Ravens will not cover. For some reason, the last time these two met went to overtime. Sounds crazy going with the Bengals. And this is my pick of the week, folks. Mark that down. The Bengals will make it a lot closer than the spread. I'm going with the Bengals my pick of the week. I don't know why. I just see them being competitive this week. And next, our last international game of the year. This is a 9:30 a.m. game on NFL Network. This is in the Germany game. It's a toilet bowl one, too. It's the New York Giants at the Carolina Panthers. The Giants are favored by 4.5 points. But I'm taking the pointing. I'm going to take the underdog. I'm going to take the Panthers. For some reason, the Panthers, are building something off this win. And the Giants are bad, too. The thing is, they're both bad. It's such a hard pick, but I got to go with Carolina. I don't know why. Bryce Young's getting something going all of a sudden. They might win. They're going to win more than last year, hopefully. Marginal wins. So I'm going to go with Carolina this week. It sounds crazy, me going with the Panthers, but I'm going to go with them. Next up, that's the 1 o'clock slate of games. The Buffalo Bills at the Indianapolis Colts. This is an interesting matchup. Bills are favored by 4.5 on the road. So the Bills, coming off a huge division win over the Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Colts, up and down, but they got Joe Flacco. They're playing competitive. It's just, I don't know who you think your quarterback is at this point for the Colts. I think it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. I'm going to go with the Bills. They'll cover. I think the Bills will be in good shape, but this could be a trap game because they got Kansas City the week after. So, but I'm still taking the Buffalo Bills because I don't know. The Colts are just a weird team, but I'm just not sold on Indianapolis this year. They're just such a weird up and down team, and Buffalo should win. Take care of business on the road. This one's a good, interesting one. Minnesota Vikings at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Vikings are favored by 4.5. It's like 3 straight 4.5 spreads in a row. I think the Vikings will cover, just like the Bills will cover. Jacksonville's garbage. I don't know. Minnesota's starting to get something going. Back in their group, early strides of the season. So we'll see. Maybe not. The thing is, last time the Jaguars played at home, they were competitive. They almost beat the Packers. So I'm very careful in this one, but I'll take Minnesota. This one's a very tough pick for a lot of NFL experts. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 6-2 against the 7-2 Washington Commanders. This could be a surprisingly good game. At the beginning of the year, this game's be mismatched because Steelers, but this is an evenly matched game. It comes down to the defense of the Steelers for sure. That Washington offense is explosive. That's me interesting, and that Washington defense kind of got a little bit better, but still, that Washington defense is gonna have a hard time with the Steelers offense a little bit, but we don't know. That's such a good one in Washington. It's be such a good football game for sure. I expect to be. Two really good, surprisingly good teams. Washington has been really the biggest surprise of the NFL season. Pittsburgh, living at their expectations, but exceeding them more because they're really competing for the division this year. The spread's 2.5 favored by the Commanders, but I'm going to have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why. Because they got the dominant defense, and they added more from the trade deadline, adding Mike Williams, too, for the receiving. So, I'm going to go with Steelers. Commanders are due for a loss. I don't know. I like Pittsburgh in this one for some reason. Could be wrong because it's a very tough pick. Washington's such a good team. Atlanta Falcons in New Orleans at the New Orleans Saints. Falcons are favored by 3.5 on the road. I'm taking the Falcons. Saints are just a train wreck. They got a new interim head coach. They'll try to do well, but it's the Atlanta team. Knows they got to win these division games. They already beat them once. They'll beat them again. They'll sweep the Saints. It's what Tampa Bay already. So I got to go with the Falcons. I think they got the division locked in if they win this one. Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is an AFC West showdown here. First time these two met this year. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback, is taking on Patrick Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl champs. The spread is 9.5 favored by the Chiefs. I don't see the Chiefs covering. This is such a high spread, even though I took Denver last week and lost. But I don't know. This Chiefs team, they barely win games. So, especially because the Broncos beat them once last year. I don't know. Just keep an eye on this one. Spread may be big, but just don't know. They could this team that could definitely hang with Kansas City in this one. I feel like because it's a divisional game and Denver's gotten so much better. Just keep an eye on that one, but I got the Broncos in the points. Next, the San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 49ers could be getting Christian McCaffrey this week. Could we finally get him off the IR and have him play? Bucs, came off a heartbreaker against the Chiefs Monday Night Football. The spread's 6.5. I think the 49ers won't cover. The Bucs can compete with them. I'm gonna do the same strategy last week. Take the Bucks as the underdog points, And that spread. Oh, this one's kind of not a competitive game. The Patriots at the Bears. 6.5 in Chicago. The Bears are favorites. So I'm gonna take the Bears. They'll at least win by a touchdown. Yeah. I like Chicago in this one. Oh, now the 4 o'clock slate of games. This is on Fox in our local area. In my local area. So, yeah, Tennessee Titans at the LA Chargers. The spread's 7.5 favored by the Chargers at home. I got to think the Chargers win big in this one. Titans are playing. Thing is, that was an even match against the Patriots. They won, but it's the Chargers. The Chargers look pretty good. They made a statement against a bad team in the Browns. They're going to do it again against the Tennessee Titans. So, yeah. I like the LA Chargers. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Spread is 6.5 favored by the Eagles. And, yeah, Dallas. I'm going to take the Eagles this one. Dallas without Dak Prescott. Dallas going to have a hard time. And this is supposed to be the 4:25 national televised game on CBS, so I got to go with the Eagles. Cardinals and Jets, this is a tough pick. Cardinals are on a roll. Jets got back on the win column. I mean, the Cardinals are favorites at home. I got to go with the 1/2. Cardinals should win. So I like Arizona in this one for sure. The next, the Sunday night football game this week. Really good matchup here in Houston. The Detroit Lions at the Houston Texans. The Lions are favored on the road. The Texans could get a little help. They got Nico. They could be having Nico Collins come back from the injury reserve. He could be back in the lineup this week for the Texans, which would be huge for also not just the Texans, but also for fantasy owners too. If you want him back, so yeah, I gotta roll with the Detroit Lions. Still, they are just good. They are just a legit good team. They do well in Sunday Night Football. They do well in national televised games. So I like Detroit to beat Houston. They're saying could be Super Bowl preview, but the Texans are so beat up right now too with injuries. So I gotta go with them. And Monday Night Football to wrap it up this will be on Veterans Day, So it is the Miami Dolphins at the LA Rams. Miami came so close to winning over the Bills. LA Rams have been on a roll, so I got to go with the LA Rams. Favorite 2.5. LA Rams should win a Monday Night Football. Could be wrong. That one's a tough one, but I got to go with the Rams. And, of course, also, big congratulations to the LA Dodgers to win the World Series. They beat my Yankees. I mean, the Yankees didn't deserve it after that 5th inning collapse last week. So, yeah, the Dodgers are your World Series champs. It's sad the Yankee season's over and they didn't win the World Series, but, hey, really good one for my New York Yankees. Really good run. I think they'll be back next year, hopefully. But, yeah, Dodgers are the World Series champs. And obviously now Trump's president, but yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, baseball season's on the end, but we'll be back at it obviously in the spring. And college basketball's back, so it's a good time for sports still. Thank you all for tuning in here. Hope you enjoy your football weekend and Veterans Day weekend. Also want to thank all the U.S. veterans that have served this country. Want to give them a thanks. Just a thanks for just defending this country. Thank you for serving. That's all I can say. This Veterans Day weekend. So we'll see you all next week for Instagram Mick at 8:30 next week. See you all.